Welcome back, everybody, to a special episode of the Old World Behemoths, where Chris and I have managed to test out Cathay, the new kid on the block, and it was an interesting,
It was an experience.
interesting experience for sure on that one. First of all, shout out to the Chaos Dwarf artwork that is legendary
Artwork.
around the scenes. Shout out to our Patreons. Chris, take us away.
Shout out to Death1942, Ghost, Joshua, Sick, Silver Dave, Jeff, and Gomo. And special shout out to 25 Creative for supplying the beautiful logos and some of the artwork that you see around. You can catch them on all of the various social channels at 25 Creative.
Please do check them out. They make our life a lot easier. Okay, so quick snapshot at the map, guys. We decided to play 1,000 points like we always do in a tabletop simulator format because we can capture it on our PCs, it's easy, and we can have a bit of fun creating the map here. So we've decided to go for a bit of about as close to a Cathay scheme as we could, which was some mountains, some trees. It's a pretty basic deployment outlook. Not a funky mission here. We're going for open battle. Typical deployment, 2 forests, a couple more on the left-hand side, and an impassable terrain piece in the middle. So really it's designed not for, advanced tactics, let's put it that, but going
showcase the units.
Absolutely.
More than
Absolutely.
the game.
Yes, yeah. And some interesting dynamics that Cathay have. Chris, your list, please.
So, yep, this is Chaos Dwarves. This is using the Renegade pack. So what that allows me to do is take the Infernal Ironsworn as core. Can't remember if I have to take the Castellan or not in order to field them. Either way, means I don't have to take some of the worst units, I guess. So just gone with a block of Ironsworn, full plate with shield, so 3-up saves. They've got a champion, they've got a standard bearer with a war banner. All of their weapons are the ensorcelled hand weapons. So
that's the AP1.
AP1, which is quite good, and magical attacks. Not that that's going to matter. Inside that unit, you got the Infernal Castellan. He's kind of like a Lord level fighting guy. Full plate, shield. I gave him the Black Hammer of Hashut, which was strength +2. So that means he's strength 7. AP1. Multiple wounds D3. Magical attacks, and then if you are flammable, there's a whole bunch of like extra rules that come on top of that, which doesn't really matter. And obviously Talisman of Protection in case he ends up in challenges or something like that. Took the Iron Demon because it's always good with the Skull Cracker. So that's the extra impact hits. So it loses the cannon, but it gets the extra impact hits. And then the Renegade pack changed the Cathay Fireborn, gave them an extra wound. Just wanted to test them out, see how they go. They're not really seen at the moment in Chaos Dwarf lists. Definitely not with 2 wounds each. That's pretty bad. But there should be a little bit of a glass cannon because they got 3 attacks each base, strength 5, I think, AP1.
Yep. And we should note that it's 25% characters, like we normally like to do, is make sure that we're not bringing certain dragons that are allowed within 50% allowance. So yeah, it looks good. Looks good as a list, like a typical Chaos Dwarf list, you would say, definitely with the Iron Demon. Now, the Cathay list. So this was interesting. I mean, there's been a lot of commentary flying around. We wanted to take a different approach to this. Well, especially I did, which was everyone's talking about the Shogungan Lords and the Longmars, etc. And the dragon, of course. Instead, I wanted to give the strategist a go in the hot air balloon, as in the Sky Lantern, as the general character in this 1,000 point list. So you can see him, their strategist. I decided to give him Ruby Ring of Ruin because, again, he has reserve move, so he can move. All of the gunners can shoot, they can drop bombs, they can Ruby Ring, and then they can move again using the reserve move. And as a chariot, there's an immense amount of maneuverability given that they have lumber. So you're talking about moving, going 90 degrees, doing your shooting, moving, doing another 90 degrees. And because they have scout at the start, my gosh, you can get some things. And fly. I mean, it sounds like a good deal. So 20 Jade Warriors in core with a war banner, 5 Jade Lancers with a unit champion, just to give them a go, as I think we've touched on in a number of times, and hopefully by the time this comes out, we've had our discussion in the group chat that we probably think they should be run as a bigger unit, but no less. Let's see how they go. The Cathay Grand Cannon, we have to give this a go. Everyone's talking about it with the Ogre Loader, which allows it to shoot twice.
You have to take the Ogre Loader. You know what a cannon
No,
does.
you have to. You have to. I'm sorry. You have to. It's a requirement now when you look at it. And a Sentinel, which is also a compulsory choice now, it seems, with a Jade Sentinel upgrade, which makes him effectively be able to pick one spell from Battle Magic or Elementalism and cast it at a bound spell level 3. Which is great. And as we found out, again, we went into this blind. You could probably guess a bit more about what I was going to bring, given there was 1,000 points, and Cathay only seemed to have about 6 units at the moment. So let's get onto it. Okay, everybody, we are back for the battle, and you can see here that we're rolling off for deployment. And you won, which gave me the first deployment. Given that you've only got 4 drops, it didn't really matter on that side. So we are playing this at 2.4 times speed, so we'll try to keep up as best as we can. We want to make sure that it's not too long for you guys. But you can see here that I've got some pretty basic choices to make, right? Is what's going to go after with the Jade Sentinel? What's the cannon going to shoot at? Because really the game plan is just get as many cannon shots as possible into the Iron Demon before we go. Now you finished deploying, and shockingly, I don't know if we forgot, but the Sky Lantern has scout. We remembered right at the end.
I don't think it was going to matter much.
It wasn't going to matter.
Probably not. I don't think dwarves can catch a flying
blimp. No.
Yeah.
No. There's a lot of rules for this thing. So here we are. Quick look at the battlefield. It's going to be run at each other, and away they go. Cathay Fireborn, automatic style points for bringing those. They actually do quite well, as we'll later find out. But we'll just checking up a couple of rules here as our first game with Cathay. So I must say the Jade Sentinel is going to be looking good once everyone finishes painting them up.
Best model in that range.
Absolutely. So
I win the roll-off to go first.
Yep.
Game plan is to just bum rush you as fast as Chaos Dwarves can, which is movement 3, so not very fast. I don't have magic. I don't have shooting. So it's genuinely just march everything up turn 1.
Yep. Yeah, and it's an interesting one, right? Because do you march straight into the cannon or not? And I feel like the Ogre Loader, and why I said this in the start, is a mandatory choice simply because of the fact that it can shoot twice on turn 1, and again, hopefully you're not misfiring, but if everything goes to plan, you're getting 3 cannon shots in before any of the Chaos Dwarves are within charge range. So you've just done your steam-powered cannonade, effectively.
Rolled a 5, so that's an extra 5 inches, so he goes, I think, 11 all up.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is me just measuring out some of the ranges of the weapons, but critically I chose Oaken Shield in this match from the Jade Sentinel to give him a ward save. Something you said, Chris, only heavy armor, that's surprisingly easy to get through.
Yeah. 2 cannons would probably pop it.
Yeah.
Do you remember if you were yin or yang in this turn?
Well, it's a great thing you asked because we completely forgot to roll it on that one, talking about Cathay mechanics. I think we remember later on, but on this one we completely forgot. And this is me going, oh my gosh, we need to get out of the rule of view. But it's something that's interesting on the yin and yang mechanics, because on my first pass, I read it as they got, +1 movement or whatever it is, plus the other one. It's pick one. So tracking these stats is going to be quite tedious in a way with Cathay in play, because not only do you need to remember to roll for yin and yang, but then you have to then decide which of the characteristics you're going to have. So there's a lot of flexibility between the two, between movement, leadership, weapon skill, and a couple of things outside of your casters in that side. And the mortal units get it, right? So here we are shooting the cannon. The first
one. Save the first one.
Incredibly, you managed to save
6.
it. Yes, that's right. And then the second one manages to hit, and I think it does 3 wounds.
Yeah, 3 wounds.
Yeah. This is also the point, and I obviously didn't move because I wanted to get as many cannon shots in as possible, that we realized that crane guns were 36 inches instead of 18.
And so on a 4x4 board, basically the entire board.
Basically the entire board, yes. Interesting because it's 5 shots. They're ballistic skill 4, 5 on the champion. They only really suffer the moving and shooting penalty because most of the time with your ability to move fly 8, you're going to be within that 18 inches, and so you're hitting on 4s most of the time, 3s with the general, and strength 6 AP2, Chris.
Why?
So
that just there was you measuring the bomb range of the lantern. I believe it's 6 inches, so you're just out.
The 6 inches was out, but the dragon fire bombs were within. And incredibly, I think I randomly say, oh yeah, look, I'll just give it a go. It hits, it does, 2d6, 1 wound. And then you go to do your save.
Yeah.
Take one. Because it has Armor Bane on it too. And that's me doing my reserve move. So easy turn 1, taken I think 4 wounds off the Iron Demon, which is somewhat hard to kill, so it's over to you.
Killed 2 Iron Sworn as well.
Yep, and I do think this is where being an adult comes to play, because you have to take a quick phone call. It'll speed us up a bit.
Please, so because he was a coward and he didn't move forward, I don't get any charges to declare, and I don't want the cavalry charging in if I can avoid it. I definitely don't want the sentinel charging in, so I'm going to try and move up within, just outside of charge ranges, I guess, and hope that you decide to move forward a bit, and just hope that the cannon and the lantern don't blow off too many more models.
Yep. It's going to be an interesting one against these armies, because the balloons being that maneuverable, they're not just a random backline threat. Like, the fact that they have impact hits means that they're not bad in combat. You still need to be careful, as we'll later find out. But if you're going up against, kind of like backline handgunners or something like that, it's a pretty formidable unit. Like 9 wounds, toughness 5 or 6 is nothing to sneeze at.
What's the base wounds without the hero?
7.
Yeah,
7.
That's really good.
And here you are measuring out charges.
Measuring the charges,
yeah, to make sure what's going to charge.
Asking you how far the sentinel moves.
Yeah.
Making sure I absolutely do not sit within there.
Yeah, I mean, his implacable rule means that that he can declare a reroll on a charge once per game. And that's a pretty good rule, that even with hoping for a 6, I don't know what the maths is going to be, but it's probably somewhere in the range of 30 to 40% of making a 12-inch charge, of getting at least 1 6 out of 4 dice.
Yeah, really, really strong. It doesn't have impact hits, it has stomps, right?
It has stomps, yeah. If it had impact hits, that would be too crazy. And, I think we were talking about this at the start of the game, even potentially taking Arcane Urgency could be a good one. And I do manage to get Oaken Shield off again.
Yeah, so this is the start of your turn 2?
Yep, that's measuring out some ranges. I do decide, okay, well, We
you
will.
forgot Ruby Ring last turn, didn't you? Yeah.
We did, yes. I did forget to do Ruby Ring, which I don't forget to do again. But basically, I decided to move up because I think if you wanted to be that guy with Cathay, you could absolutely just stay back, sitting, hit them with cannons and sky lanterns flying about until you're ready. And there is definitely an avoidance build, definitely. So here we are getting into range. We get to test out the bombs, Chris, which we'll find out.
Also worth noting, you're moving up in front of the Iron Demon to stop the impact hits.
That's right. Yeah.
It's got 2d6 plus 2, I think, impact hits, so definitely worth not copying that on the charge.
And this is the number. This is a Ruby Ring.
This is the bomb. Oh, Ruby Ring.
No, this is Ruby Ring. Only one, which manages to
click off a dwarf.
Take off a dwarf.
This is the cannon.
Yep. Hilariously, the first roll was a 10. We didn't capture that, and then it stuck in the ground, and we thought, oh my gosh, it might actually bounce into my guy.
Yeah.
Here's us measuring the bombs. So, these are the crane gun shots first.
Yep.
Against strength 6, AP 2. Incredible.
Because
2 wounds.
Shoot off 2 more dwarves.
Yep. And
I think,
they're quite impressive. I mean, the other weapon that it has available to it is a strength 3, and it does multiple hits. I don't know why you would do that when the strength 6 AP2 version is what comes with it.
Yeah, and you get 5 shots.
5
right?
shots, yeah, at high ballistic skill. Now, I've just rolled a 6 on the bombs away, which is the highest
2
one.
blast templates.
Yep. Scatters D6 inches, which is,
quite
interesting.
A bit. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, it was a good question. I don't know if we could have reduced using the ballistic skill. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But either way, it meant that nothing got done. So after all that...
Hang on, but even if you did, how much is your ballistic skill? It's quite high, right?
It's quite high. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a D6 minus ballistic skill. And if your ballistic skill 4, what? Maximum you move is 2 inches?
Oh, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah. But it's definitely... Yeah, each template will scatter D6 inches. Any model who's based underneath final position risks being hit and suffers a strength 5 AP2 hit.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. I mean, in that sense, rolling a 2, which is a dud, just does the enemy unit loses a single wound is actually
pretty good.
A bit better. Better than that. So I don't know. You'd want to be bombing them on big units, but it's interesting, right? Because you don't even need to fly over them. You just need to be near it within 6 inches, and you can hit
That's
them.
better than the gyrocopter, because I think the gyrocopter has to move over you.
Yeah, it does. So I don't know. Maybe that's the future of old world. Is these kind of bombs are going to be just within. There's me doing my reserve move to get into a charge arc. Well, to give me options.
Yep. That was just a panic check, I think, for the dwarves.
It was,
because of all the shooting. But they're fine. Their leadership 10.
Yep.
There's charges. Unfortunately, I failed this one with the
dwarves.
Iron Sworn,
Yep.
so they only just literally half an inch out. So they go forward 4.
But
the
thankfully,
Cathay, the big boys,
they make it in.
So these guys, as we said earlier, 3 attacks each. I've got a champion, so that's 13 attacks from those 4 guys. There's a blazing ability. Basically, at the start of combat, 2 of his Jade Warriors basically die from strength 3 hits. These don't count towards the combat resolution, but it does stop him swinging back, which is nice.
Why would it not count towards the combat resolution?
It says it specifically in the rule.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah.
I think we did include it, but it doesn't matter.
Okay, that's fun. Yep, so I've already taken away 2 swings back, and then this is the mountain of attacks coming in. So these are strength 5, AP 1. I think weapon skill 4. Just double check.
Yeah. And this is another classic we forgot about. I think we did roll the yin and yang last turn, and we rolled up weapon skill, and we forgot.
I feel like Cathay players are going to have a little token for that.
They're going to have to. They're going to
sit it on the board in front of them at all times, so they don't forget.
I think logically you're going to need like a flip card that just says yin and yang, and then you're going to have you're just going to have tokens to indicate if it's weapon skill or leadership, etc. in the buffs.
Yeah.
But what it meant that these are prime targets for the Fireborn, right? Like toughness 3. In this instance, they would have been weapon skill 5, which we completely forgot about. But again, I get no attacks back because you've absolutely wiped the rank. I've got my close order. I've got a war banner and a standard, and that's about it. Very long story short is I'm running and
pursuing.
Yep. So you do roll that, but I bounce to the other side of the Sentinel.
Yeah, and unfortunately I hit the back of the Sentinel.
Yep.
If I didn't, I think I would probably wipe that unit next round.
Yep, definitely. Well, you would have caught them in that sense.
Well,
like
that's true. Yeah.
And that was a little interesting moment because you kind of clipped when you closed the door into charging the back of the Sentinel, but I think we just nudge.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the rules do say in that
of
janky situation, you just nudge that one unit so it's 1 inch away.
Yeah. There's my Oaken shield roll, which does go off, which will come in handy later. And then we're deciding, okay, well, what are the charges that are going to happen? And I thought, okay, probably don't need to do this, but you know what? We're going to give it a go. So I
probably should have thought about that before you read the stats for your character.
Yes, combat. I know that was quite a revelation. And I do so. The 5
the cavalry
lancers are going into the front. Yep,
Swift stride,
easy, and then the balloon is charging in.
Balloon doesn't get swift stride.
He doesn't, but move 8 with fly is pretty good. Do you know what I mean?
Move.
Yeah, and the point being that he's a heavy chariot. He gets impact hits.
Can you put a character, like a proper combat character, in the balloon?
No, only the strategist can go in it, which we then find out has 1 attack. So, it's
you rallied the Jade Warriors.
Yes, we did. And it was a 9. Them having leadership 8 is it's just
it's so good.
It's so good. And then there's a musician in the unit to give me leadership 9. So the cannon basically does nothing now for the rest of the game because we're locked into our combat. But that's the reality of these 1K battle reports. So these are your hits onto the back of the Sentinel.
Yeah.
Which I fail the arm save, fail the ward save, and I take a wound. So I decide to do the scything blow here. Of course, only roll 2 attacks, which gives me 5. Surprisingly good weapon skill on the Sentinel. Weapon skill 5 for a clay statue.
Jade statue, mate.
Yes, Jade statue.
I have no armor save on the Cathay.
Yep.
They only have a regen save. Which is why I've got that little blue dice there, because the regen counts towards...
around that. And these are the stomps coming in. So 3 more stomps.
Yeah, the stomps are really what punches through.
And effectively, I think you lose by 4 once we add up things like the background, rear charge and other things like that. And you're unstable, correct?
Yes. So I just basically crumble. I think I lose an entire Kadaya here. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But locked in, go back,
give ground.
2 inches.
Yeah.
You follow up into me, and then these are the I think, did we do the... Oh, yeah, sorry, this is a challenge.
Yeah, this is a challenge. I said, yeah, I'll accept with my balloon. And then you said, oh, are you sure? Because I've got an ogre blade. And I went, did I say the balloon? I meant my jade unit champion.
Yeah, it's not quite the ogre blade. It's the black maul, mate. But,
my apologies.
Black hammer, sorry. But it is basically an ogre blade. Yeah.
Yes. And incredibly, I don't think we do any wounds to each other.
No, because I rolled
you rolled
3
4.
ones, and then I rolled a 1 to wound.
That's right. These are my impact hits here. So it's D3 plus 1.
Which I was shocked at how high the strength was.
The fact that it's a heavy chariot.
For a paper balloon.
Yeah, a heavy chariot, so it's AP2 impact hits.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
The Lancers, I don't know if you forgot any rules in this first combat with them, but they performed pretty well.
I don't think so on this specific one, but it's an interesting one because perhaps it's not forgetting rules; it's not taking advantage of them in list construction, which I'm sure we'll go over. But definitely, these guys favor being ranked up again. They fight an extra rank. They've got the cataphracty rule, which means that they count as charging, and so forth. So that's pretty good, right? Because that means you're always striking at initiative 5 most of the time. Because even when you give ground follow up, you follow up 2 inches. That means you count as charging, which means you get +2.
I think hilariously, it was 2 wounds to your impact hits from the balloon, and only 1 wound from the Lancers.
The Lancers, yep.
But then because our characters did nothing to each other, I ended up losing, I think. But I have stubborn and shield wall. So I elect to basically,
Yeah, and this was a good opportunity to be able to test out the Grand Strategist ability, whereby I knew that I'd won the combat and that you would be giving ground. So I opted to give the balloon the ability to bounce out so that he can charge in his following turn to get impact hits again.
Yeah. I do think that ability is extremely powerful when it's in your opponent's turn. Because, as you said, if the next turn is your turn, you can then charge. On your turn, it's a little bit less impactful, unless you're trying to avoid being stuck in combat that you don't want to fight.
Yeah.
But yes, that's your little duck away move.
Chris, there'll be people with far more tactical intelligence than us that figure out a way on how to use this. But yes, didn't go too far. Again, only about 4 or 5 inches backwards, because it is technically a Fabigo.
Yeah.
And no Swift stride. So your maximum really, getting your 6 inches maximum, but on average probably 4 to 5. Again, enough for impact hits. Though. This is the following one where you absolutely decimate my champion. He's got 2 attacks back. He fails to do anything. The rest of your unit then kills 1 Lancer.
Yes.
Yep. Again, we forgot that it was Yin. And they were weapon skill 5. So going
that would have been hitting on 4s.
You would have been hitting on 4s, but in the abstract of that moment, as Alex Brown would say, it doesn't really matter.
No. I think this is the horses. Who managed to kill.
Yeah, the
horses always manage to kill in combat. But thanks to that challenge, I should be able to win this one.
And you do.
Yeah. And then there's I believe a follow-up or a pursuit. I don't manage to catch them. I have -1 because I'm a dwarf. in heavy armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, you roll awfully, but I managed to just.
Yeah. I'm only going 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I only go 5.
So the cannon is still sitting, doing nothing. Right.
Yeah, this is the combat with the Cathay into
Fireborn. Yep.
the Sentinel. They'd be lucky to do 1 wound here.
And this is where I roll 2 to 3 and get 9 attacks back against the Fireborn. And
so if you do the multi-wound attack,
yeah,
you only get 3 attacks, is it?
You only get 3. You only get 3, but obviously it's a bit like a Necrosphinx in the sense that it swings really hard. But incredibly, you get Killing Blow, Monster Slayer, and multi-wounds D3.
Yeah, that's scary.
So
I guess you multi-wound into the dragons, and almost anything else. I guess you do the extra attacks.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Because the Cathay, they were multi-wound.
Yeah,
but they have no armor save, so yeah, it's probably worth just getting the extra attacks in on them.
Yeah.
And this is where you go full send.
Yeah, well, I think we said, well, we might as well just see how we go. And I mean, your guys
challenge again.
Challenge again. Here are the impact hits coming in. A part of me did think, oh, this could be quite funny if we manage to think, but then we find out the blimp's strength 5, not strength 6. So you do manage to save them on the Talisman of Protection. It would have been funny if your general in the challenge had died to the weave basket that just hits you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, look, it's an interesting one because I think we just said, look, whatever happens, we'll find out. But incredibly, these are your attacks back. I'm going, oh, hang on a minute here. I've got 9 wounds. You've got a D3 weapon. Surely, Chris, you're only going to wound with like 2, right?
Definitely. I rolled really low.
You roll, 3 and then 3d3. You could have hit the blimp in one go.
Yeah. And I think you deal everything to a man or something close like that.
Yep.
The Lancers, they were okay. I mean, that's only a 5-man unit. They did enough wounds. They kind of pinned me down.
Yeah, and of course, this being a 1,000 point battle and on a small board, it is a bit of a brawl, right? Like it's rush in and it's go, and it does favor lists that bring it. And we're just finishing off the game here, but effectively, we kind of knew that from a combat resolution perspective. I knew that I was going to break you, like auto break you, and effectively what ends up happening is the only guy standing is your general. Yep. Who's in the challenge but has to take a leadership check and manages to.
And if he flees, it's at -1, and it's so I think I need basically Snake Eyes, which I definitely did not get. Nope. And then we were just discussing. So the balloon was the highest unit strength here, so I had to flee
incredibly
away from that, despite there being a giant, scary statue next to me.
Only unit strength 6.
And this is so I only go 4 inches, sorry, because it's -1. And then you roll the Lancers and easily catch me.
Yep. And do you know what? You've just made me think about something. Keep filibustering.
Look, Chaos Dwarves with the Renegade pack, it's definitely better, but I mean, it probably still wasn't a great list. I feel like there's still a little bit on the weaker side. Interestingly, we didn't have the I guess the rocket launcher for Cathay, which is kind of unfortunately a straight upgrade on the Chaos Dwarf one for some reason. But yeah, the Cathay stuff was just kind of a little bit. I feel a little bit overtuned for what it is. Not a great demonstration again. It's only 1,000 points. It's a 4x4 board and all that, but everything did feel kind of slightly better than what it probably should be, particularly the balloon. But yeah, we'll see how they play out.
Yes, and we may have critically, I don't know, cheated there, because as we were talking, I did look up that heavy chariots are only unit strength 5. I don't know how that interacts with the character. We might need to check that one on the back end, but to no matter, we will take that. We'll take that on the chin. If it is, someone in the comments will point it out, I'm sure, if someone has got it to the end. So Chris, final vibe check. What and how do you think Cathay felt in that game?
Definitely for me, they feel a little bit overtuned. I think they're really cool. I was going to get a Cathay army even before I saw the rules, because I really like the fluff, and the models are incredible. I think potentially maybe after the first few events, people will see that maybe they need to tone their Cathay lists down slightly just to make things a bit fairer. We'll just have to see. I mean, we didn't even have the dragon, right? And the dragon can do some pretty wild stuff. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting showcase of a couple of different Cathay units, this battle report.
Definitely. I think my favorite unit was definitely the balloon. Being able to fly around and reserve move and lumber and shoot and other things. It's an interesting discussion, right, in comparison to some of the other choices, especially if Mao Ying is able to be taken. But so, look, we'll see.
Yeah, and we'll definitely hopefully see a few more battle reports pop up. You should see hopefully a couple more battle reports from us soon. Definitely some more podcast episodes coming up, and potentially some hobby stuff as well.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, guys, take care.
All right, catch you later.